I've got pants to share. They can also be shorts, and I decided to do a little hack. I made a bit of a mistake. We all do. Rarely with sewing is something not fixable. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and today I have pants to share. I'm so happy with these pants. I'd wanted to make them for such a long time. It's a really classic style, and there's one little detail here that might not be for everyone, but just know that it's an option in these pants. You can opt out of that option, and I think a lot of you will be happy with the style. And this is a pattern from GreenStyle. Now, GreenStyle, along with other pattern brands, is having Black Friday sales. I'm going to be seeing you quite a bit this week. And just to make it easier, on my website, right at the top, it says Black Friday sales. If you click there, you'll see the list of all the pattern brands I am affiliated with. So with one click, you can find all the information you need. GreenStyle, it already started. It finishes Tuesday, the 2nd of December. 40% off the whole site. The code that you need is BF25, and that'll get you the 40% off all the patterns. I will leave you my affiliate link in the description box, also pinned at the top of the comment section, along with my playlist full of GreenStyle pattern makes. True, there's a lot of activewear. I've made sports bras, leggings, skirts, all sorts, amazing. But there's also patterns that are like for your regular life. Even the ones that are supposed to be sporty, I've made them for my regular life. So don't just think it's all activewear. It's not the case. I think there's beautiful patterns. They're drafted beautifully. And the ones I'm showing today are the Guthrie pants. Love them. I mean, I love these so much, and I wish I could have made 10. Sadly, there's only one of me, and we all have 24 hours, and sadly I was not able to make 10 because I would have. Now, these pants are for woven fabrics. They have a flat front, elasticated back waistband. There's pleats on the front, 2 little pleats that go off to the sides that way. They fit beautifully. They don't add bulk to your midsection, nothing like that. But if you don't like that and that is not your jam, you can do that has nothing, just flat. So you're going to see in the pattern, there's 2 front legs, one with the pleats, one without the pleats. The one with the pleats has 1.5 inches of extra ease around the hips. Otherwise, it's a straight leg. It's not flared, it's not tapered. So because it's completely straight, the hem finishes at 90-degree angles. It's really easy to make length modifications, but you don't have to because there's a short, a regular, and a tall inseam. So whatever height you are, you're going to find the file that's completely drafted for your height. 27, 30, or 33-inch inseam. And that's all got to do with the rise and everything. So find the one that's closest to you and you have a really good result. On the side, you have slant pocket openings right there. The back is super simple. You have a simple hem. If these pants weren't amazing already, you know, the pleats, the non-pleat version, you can make shorts. There's a cut line with even the hems, the trude and everything. You get about a 6 to 7 inch inseam, which is adjustable as well. But for this style, it's so beautiful. Just classic shorts. Love them. I'm going to use that cut line to make my test garment. So if you want shorts, you can get shorts without having to hack anything or make calculations yourself. That's awesome. Now, there's one thing here. There is a fake fly front. Now, it's fine. These are pull up. They have enough ease that you can definitely have them pull up. They're not tight around the hips. I really wanted the real zipper. And on the front piece, you already have the fly extension there. So all you need to do is actually sew a zipper and then modify the front waistband a little bit. I am going to show you how to do that today if you want to. Otherwise, it can be super easy and just forget about that. It'll still be functional. You'll still be able to pull them up and do the fake fly. You need bottom weight woven fabrics for this one. Hopefully not sheer. Great fabrics are 100% linen rayon blend, linen cotton blend, a light denim. For me, the best fabric is a tencel twill. That is my fabric choice. I love tencel twill because it's got that heavy drape. It's not transparent. It's just amazing for pants, especially for these that have a straight, wider leg. They just fall and look beautifully. The look depends on what you prefer. You know, if you do something a little more structured, it's just going to look that way. I prefer the softer look of the tencel twill. Something similar that would be awesome for winter would be a wool crepe. That's also super nice bottom weight. Also a bit of drape. Now, fabrics I think would be too light for these, are 100% rayon. I think even a rayon twill would be too light for these. I think they would just look a little floppy. If you do something too lightweight, it could end up looking like pajamas. Traditional bottom weight wovens, I think no one's going to think you're wearing pajamas if you do it like that. You need a little bit of interfacing for the waistband pieces. For the pockets, you also need a bit of interfacing. And in my case, I'm doing a zipper front because I want to. So I needed a zipper as well. Sizing is B through M. You really need to look at the chart because it's not the traditional way that you see sizes usually. So you can forget about your preconceived notions here about what your size you think you should be or whatever. Just look and find your size on the chart. I'm a G waist and an H hip. Super easy to blend between sizes. I chose the tall file that gives me a 33 inseam. I know I need only 32, so I'm going to have to chop a little bit off at the bottom, easy peasy. And as usual, I'm going to have to check for the rise and all of that, doing my flat pattern measurements and a quick test garment. I mentioned that the version that didn't have the pleats had a little bit less ease, 1.5 inches. It's around 4.5 inches of ease you'll get with that version, which is still plenty comfortable, very nice. It's not going to look fitted. And then the one with the pleats is going to have around 6.5 inches of ease at the hips. Around the waist, it's going to be nice and snug. You know, it's flat front, elasticated back. You regulate it with the elastic, so it's going to be good. You're going to be very comfortable. I'm going to take you through my fitting process, pattern measurements. You can see the pattern pieces, what I've done to check the rise, if any pattern adjustments I need to make. And then I decided to make a quick non-wearable test garment using the short cut line. I just need shorts to check this. You know, I don't need to make the full length. I used some old sheets. So I do have like a bodysuit underneath when you see it on. So it's completely transparent. So let's see what this fitting process could look like. And you can see how these little pleats look. Here are the Guthrie pants. I'm going to be making the version with the pleats here. I like the pleats, they're not too big. There is another front that's just flat, but the shape here is the same. It doesn't change. So if you check one, the other one's going to fit the same. So as usual, I've drawn my seam allowance on the top, on the waistline, 3/8. This dash line here is the center. This excess fabric is sort of excess for the fake fly. So that is the center. I've just kept going with a curve there, and I've drawn the inseam seam allowance right there. Now, I don't want to just measure up to here because we're missing the waistband that comes there. This is the front waistband. You're supposed to fold it so that it's as sewn. I've drawn the seam allowance there. And I'm just going to overlap the seam allowances as if this was sewn. So seam allowances stacked up on each other. And now I can measure the front rise, including this waistband. So we'll see how it goes. It looks long to me. I have a suspicion I'm going to have to shorten this rise. Measure from the edge of the paper. It's from the seam allowance line. And then we go all the way up, 14.25. That's way too much. I would probably need to remove about 1.5 inches from this rise, or else I know this is going to end up pretty much under my bust. Let's say 13 to not be that extreme. So let's say I have to remove 1 inch of the length from here. But I'm not going to just go ahead and do it. I don't know what I need to do with the back yet, and it always depends. Okay, here is the back. I've drawn the seam allowance there on the waist, down the crotch, and the inseam. And I'm also going to pin the waistband on. There it is. I've also drawn the seam allowance. Just overlap them there. Stack them on each other. Again, I'm measuring on the seam line that I marked in red. And I get 18, let's say 18.5. I would want 18. So this is long as well. So I need to reduce the back rise by 1/2 inch. And I need to reduce the front by 1 inch. So there's no shorten and lengthen line here. I'm just going to pick a spot where this section is still straight so it distorts the pattern less. I don't want to do that all the way down here. I always want to keep it like in the upper third. I find this helpful. And I'm going to draw across. I initially wanted to just overlap the center back like that. But then I decided something different. So I need to reduce the length on the front by 1 inch, and it's going to distort the front less if I just reduce the front by the whole inch all the way across from the center and the side. So I think that's easier. It's going to end up smoother. So over here, I'm going to mark my inch down so that it matches what I'm going to do on the front. So here is my inch there to match the front, but over here is just 1/2 inch. And now I'm going to overlap this, but it's not going to overlap the same. Over here, it's overlapping 1 inch. Over here, it's only overlapping 1/2 inch. And that's how I'm going to get a smoother waistline and side. So that is one way you can do it. There's so many ways to do this. That's why it's always important to check both before making decisions. And then find the way that's going to give you a smoother waistline while keeping the rise that you want customized to you. So let's go to the front. Remember here on the side, I took away an inch. On the center back, I took away half. So I sort of just moved it like that. Okay, here is the front. I'm going to draw a line across. I'm going to do it just below that pocket line so that it doesn't upset the pocket too much. This is pretty straight here, so it doesn't really matter if I do it up here or here or here. It's different with the back curve because it's got a whole angle that's different. On the front, it's always straight here, so I can afford to go down a little bit right here. Let's just do that. I know I need to reduce by an inch, so I'm going to draw that inch below it. Now we overlap. This takes away an inch all across the front, from the center to the side. I need to fix that little curve here of this fake fly. It doesn't really affect anything. It's just going to make it a little shorter and it makes total sense. Now if I confirm this, I'm going to measure it again. It's always nice to double check. The waistband is still on there. And now I get 13 inches, which is acceptable. Anywhere from 12.5 to 13 is acceptable. I think a little longer, just because there's the pleats, is okay. I wouldn't want it exactly at 12 inches like a really fitted pair of pants would be, because this is a looser style and the pleats are there. You want the crotch to be a little bit lower. So that's why I'm comfortable with 13 here. 14 would have been way too high. Ignore that I've cut the legs off because I'm going to be using shorts to make the test garment. I will tape them back on. But after figuring out the rise adjustment, the other thing I want to do is blend the sizes from the waist down to the hips. It's just one size. So for the waistbands, I'm going to keep the size G. Right here on the top, I'm going to keep that size G. But when I get to the full part of the hip, I want to be at a size H. I want to do that above where that pocket line is, just so it doesn't mess it up that much. I'm going to keep it there, original, and start blending upwards until I get to this part there. Now you can see that the smaller size has a shorter rise. I'm not going to mess with that. I'm keeping that rise from my largest size just to make it more simple. And so let me just trim on the sides there. It's a very small adjustment, but I know I'm going to be more comfortable. So I didn't really mess up my pocket at all. Now here on the side of the back that I've got next to it, I'm going to just line it up next to each other, and I'm going to do the same thing. And that's it. Super easy. These are my Guthrie shorts. You can also make them as pants, but there is a cut line for you to make shorts, and I love this length. I don't have a hem, but if I fold it up an inch, I think it's the perfect length for me. Here are the pleats on the front. I think they look really nice. They're not bulky. They lie pretty flat. For my test garment, of course, I don't have the pockets, but they would be there. I've got the flat waistband, the elasticated back right here. I feel the rise is just perfect on the back and the front. So I'm happy I did that adjustment. If I hadn't have shortened this would be way up higher. It would not fit right. And same as this. This will just be drooping once it gets too low. So I'm super happy with the adjustments. I've got the size G waistband. I've got the top of the pants size G. And here on the fullest part of the hip is where I blend it out to size H, which matches my full hip better. And for this style of pants, I think it's perfect. I wouldn't want it more fitted than that. That's why I thought blending sizes was important if I needed it. You know, I have 2 sizes for this brand right now. So it was super easy just to blend on the sides, keeping it simple. Fitting process, super easy, no stress at all. I think once you do this over and over again, it can be pretty systematic. You know what to do, you know to draw your seam allowances, know what your measurements are. Remember, I have a whole fitting series on this channel. I swear by it. I have comments on those videos years down the line of people having good results. So it can be quite simplified, and you can quickly check what the rise is here on the pants, what it is for you, what you need to adjust, and you'll be pretty happy you did all those steps before getting your nice fabric. At least I value fabric quite a bit. I don't just want to go blindly and use actual fabric to make pants. Rarely will I ever do that. It's worth doing the little test and checking everything, making sure you're happy, and then getting your nice fabric. I chose tencel twill. It's a pretty pricey fabric here in Brazil. I do have some sources where I can get it. I can't just go to any shop and find it. I have to buy it online. And so it's a precious fabric for me. It is pretty precious. So I'm never going to just go cut into it and hope for the best. I don't think that's a good approach. Unless you like frustration and disappointment, if you vibe with that, then go ahead and skip your non-wearable test garment. So for the sewing, I actually have a full sew along on Patreon. I made these recently and I have everything in very good detail there. I'll leave you that link in the description box. If you want to join my Patreon page, you're welcome. You can join for a while or for a long time. There's so many detailed sew-alongs here, content you don't get to see on the channel, and that is on the orchid tee. Very good value if I say so myself. Now I'm going to show you the pattern pieces, how I modified that front waistband, which is supposed to be simple, just cut on the fold. You know, it can't be on the fold anymore because I'm going to add a zipper. I made a mistake, but I fixed it because you can always fix things in sewing. Let's just see about that waistband piece a little bit. It's supposed to be cut on the fold. I'm going to add a certain amount. Let's see how much. Here is the front waistband. It's supposed to be cut on the fold because we have a fake fly in the original design. But I'm going to put a real zipper here. So the only thing I'm going to do is not cut it on the fold. This is the side. I'm keeping that the same. And from here, I added 2 inches that way. So initially, I added 2 inches to the center front there. Block fusing all the things. Down the line at the end, I was sewing on my waistband and I figured out I didn't add enough. I just guesstimated that 2 inches was going to be enough. It ended up that I needed 3, at least on one side. So I just recut the piece and let me show you how that looks. Okay, I unstitched the waistband on the side that was too short and I used it as a template to cut my new one. So I've got another one here. It's interfaced, everything. It matches the side right here perfectly and it's just 1 inch longer. So I unstitched the waistband that was too short, used it as a template, cut another one 1 inch longer, and then everything was all set to go. It's rare that you're not going to have a little piece from somewhere. It's very rare that you can't fix a small mistake like this. So I don't let this get me down. I'm not going to think, oh, I'm such a bad seamstress. Like I have no idea. No. We can make mistakes and we can fix them. Just get on with it, unstitch the little thing, do it again. It's all fine. So I'm going to show you the pattern pieces, the little pleats, and then I'm going to show you how to sew on this waistband modified. If you weren't doing this, it would be so much easier. So if you want to sew it without my little trick and my add-ons, you would be so happy. It's all in the instructions. You just basically sew it on the round, leave little gaps, add elastic, and you're done. Sweet. But I'm doing this as extra because I wanted to. Here are the pieces for my Guthrie pants from GreenStyle. This is the back leg. This is the front leg. I'm doing a few extra things like a real fly here. We already had that fly extension, but it was for a fake fly. We can use it without any change to put a real zipper in there. I have interfaced that area right there. Slant pocket opening stabilized with stay tape right there, fusible. I'm doing a real zipper. So here's my zipper. Here is my shield. I'm doing an extra back patch pocket that's not part of the pattern. Belt loop piece there. I'm actually going to do belt loops. 2 pocket pieces. This is the one that goes sewn onto the pant leg. It's got the slant. This is going to complete the hip made out of the main fabric. Quilting cotton over there. Waistband pieces. The back waistband in the pattern, it says to interface, but I don't like interfacing waistbands that will have elastic inside. It ends up bulky. So I left mine uninterfaced. I did interface the front though, and remember I'm not doing it on the fold because I'm doing a real zipper. I just added 2 extra inches this way from where it was meant to be on the fold. First thing we're going to do is get these little pleats out of the way. You can see the 4 lines I have here. Let's put these like that. So we're just going to stack the 2 first lines on each other and pin it. I like sewing darts. I don't like just folding them. It's just so much easier, and then we can get rid of the basting stitches at the very end when we've already sewn the pants. So I'm just going to stack the lines on each other right here. So I'm going to baste these pleats closed. I'm going to use a 5.0 stitch length so that I can remove this later on. Okay, there we have them. Now we're going to push the volume of these pleats towards the center where the zipper is going to go. This is from the wrong side. and I'm just going to baste it there on the top so it stays in place. Now we're going to start sewing the waistband. It's going to be slightly different because we have the zipper, so the front is not on the fold. If you're doing the regular pants with no zipper, then this would just be on the fold. The front is way shorter than the back. Remember, I didn't interface my back, even though it says to do it in the instructions. It's going to have an elastic, and I don't like the bulk of interfacing an elastic, so mine's just free. Just the front is interfaced. You can see there's a little shape here. It's not a rectangle. So we need to sew that 3/8 seam allowance, both sides, press it open, and then we're going to fold this lengthwise, wrong sides together like that. There's a seam pressed open, the waistband folded onto itself, wrong sides together. I'm going to pick one, it doesn't really matter, and I'm going to serge it. Okay, here is our waistband, not interfaced, wrong sides up. This is the center back. I've got the raw edge here that I didn't serge. That's the side that I serged. And I'm going to place this right here on the center back and start pinning. So I'm doing this right sides together. This seam of the waistband is going to match the side seam right here. And this should match 1 to 1. You can see it matches 1 to 1. Now over here on the front, I've unzipped my zipper. I've still got to cut that off. But remember, I left a little bit extra length. I have plenty of length here. So I'm going to have to trim some off, but this is going to fit perfectly right there. And then on the other side, it'll be different. On this side where we have the shield, this is where I'm going to run into a little problem because I should have cut this a little bit longer. So if I pin this 1 to 1, it would reach up to where the seam is, but I'm missing about 3/8 of an inch. Isn't that funny? Okay, so one way to fix this easily is just to cut up another piece. I have plenty of fabric left in this one. So let's change my recommendation. Remember my center front, I cut it 2 inches longer. Let's cut it 3 inches longer and then you will be safe. Here I guesstimated the 2 inches and I was about 3/4 of an inch short. Here I'm 3/8 shy from the edge of the shield. I would need that plus a bit of seam allowance. So I think if I would have had 3/4 of an inch more, I would have been okay on this side. That sometimes happens with sewing. I'm not upset. I'm just going to unsew that here. I'm going to cut this again, interface it and everything, and just cut another piece that's a little bit longer. Okay, I unstitched the waistband on the side that was too short, and I used it as a template to cut my new one. So I've got another one here. It's interfaced, everything. It matches the side right here perfectly, and it's just an inch longer. And now I'm going to be good. This one is not good anymore. This is the place where I unstitched it from. I'm going to go ahead and sew it back on, press it open again, serge the edge that I need, and then I'm going to finish pinning it onto the waist area. Here is my fixed waistband. I left it with 3/8 dangling there so I can close it up later. An easy fix to get the waistband to work. And then the side seams match. Everything's pinned. On this other side, it's a whole different scenario. I have excess here of a lot. I'm going to trim that off later. Now I will remove some teeth here. Okay, so let's get this sewn all the way around. 3/8 seam allowance from the edge, uniting the waistline to the waistband, right sides together. Remember, I have the raw edge of the waistband. The other side of the waistband is serged. Okay, this is the side of the waistband where I have a lot of excess. So I'm going to trim some away. I'm just going to leave 3/8 here so that I can close it up. It's really helpful to have this cutting mat underneath. So over here, I'm just going to get this folded right sides together. This part that's serged, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to fold it in, but it's just going to be partial because most of it is going to be extended. But right here where we want to close it, it's going to be folded. On the other side, I already have my seam allowance there. I'm going to fold it. I already have my memory crease on the top. fold this up here. Just align everything and then sew it closed. You can see that right there on the edge it's folded, but then it's just going to be extended. So that fold is just for like 5/8 of an inch, and then it's going to be extended. On the other side, it's going to be the same. And now what I'm going to do is stitch in the ditch, and that's how I'm going to catch it. But over here on the sides, I'm going to leave a gap because we still have to thread an elastic through the back. But it's so much easier to get it all done and just leave yourself a gap. Then when we've got our elastic through, we can come back in here and close it. And this is a really nice way to finish a waistband with less bulk. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin. Maybe I'll hand baste everything to just make sure it doesn't twist. And then we're going to go stitch in the ditch. Okay, there it is, hand basted. When I stitch right there into the ditch of that seam, I'm going to be coming out around there, so I have plenty of space here. That's why I wanted to just serge it. It's so nice like that. So let's just get this sewn. For the elastic at the back, I just use half of my waist minus 1.5 inches or 2, just so that it's nice and fitted. I've got my elastic here, I've got my pin. It's pretty thick, non-roll, pretty structured. This is the type of elastic I look for. And so remember when we sewed here, I left a gap where the side seams are of the waistband and the pants. So I have a good 1.5 inches free on each side, so I have plenty of space to put this in. So I'm going to thread my elastic until I have the edge right here. I find this is the easiest way to put an elastic through the back only, is just to leave a gap there. So I'm going to push this until I have, from the seam, elastic just a little further towards the front, but not that much, just enough so I can catch it. And now I'm going to sew right into that seam there. I'm going to fix that elastic in place, then I'm going to close this up right there, and then I'll keep threading and do the other side. Can't see where my stitch in the ditch is. It's that discreet. So I'm going to put a pin so I can see where to start and stop. Now I can see to start there and to finish there. Okay, so this side is fixed. It's not going to move anywhere. It's closed. And now we just keep pushing the elastic until it comes out the other side. Now the other side's a little more fiddly just because we have to get the safety pin out of the way. Get this out of the way. Now do the same thing. Fiddle with this elastic until it's right where it has to be. Just a little forward here from the seam. You can see the outline of it right there. I have a lot of videos showing you how to sew zippers. There's nothing that I did different. I did it all the same. That's why I didn't show that to you here. It is in the sew along on Patreon, but not in this video. I'll leave you all those links. There is already a fly extension in the pattern, so you don't have to do anything but plop on your zipper. What I wanted you to see was how I modified the waistband and how I opted to sew it on. So here are my navy pants. They are just so pretty. Here are the 2 little pleats. I did some basting stitches in the beginning to get them to press nicely. And then once they were done, I took them out. As you can see, it's very small. 2 pleats and they come off right next to the pocket, basically. There is a pocket opening. I have fun quilting cotton on the inside that no one's going to see because it's understitched. And that's super nice. Here is my zipper that I added on. Super nice. When you add your own zipper, you're missing a pattern piece that you would have with patterns that have this, which is the shield. So let me show you how you can create your own. So easy, or just borrow one from a pair of jeans pattern or something that has it and you'll be fine. I'm doing the real zipper, so I need a shield. I just grabbed this pattern piece from anything, but I'll tell you what it measures. 4 inches, 8 inches, or 10 centimeters and 20 centimeters. At the bottom, fold it in half and just cut out a slight curve. Or you could just keep it a rectangle. It doesn't really matter. This is going to be on the inside of the pants. So it's as easy as creating a piece like that. My zipper on these pants is not going to be too short, so I made sure to compare that this is enough to cover the length of the zipper. You know, this could be pretty standard, the 4 inches across, but the length could be longer. I'd rather make a longer one and then trim it off at the end rather than making it too short. The piece of fabric I have here is already interfaced, so again, I'm block fusing. The fabric I would leave without interfacing would be denim. Also a cotton twill, if it's heavy, I would just leave it and not interface. The tencel twill, definitely. Linen, I would interface as well. The shield ends up on the inside, covering all the zipper area. So all of this business, you never touch it with your skin right here. And it's very nice. Waistband opens up here. Stitching the ditch, you can't even see the seam of the waistband. I love that, especially for this fabric. So nice, not bulky. I rarely do belt loops, but I did this time. That was super easy to do because my elastic is such good quality. I didn't feel that I needed to top stitch that. In the past, when I haven't been able to source good elastic, I have top stitched that because then it starts twisting and rolling, and who wants that when you're walking around, you know? One extra thing I added to the pants was patch pockets on the back. They're very simple. They're like jean style pockets. I just grabbed a pattern piece from another pair of pants. I'm not going to mention what because it doesn't matter. You probably have a pocket from something that you like and you can just put it on there. My test garment was very practical for that because I was able to play with that, pin the pocket onto those little shorts that you saw. Straight leg, nice deep hem allowance. Love that for these type of pants. And I'm going to love these so much. They're so nice. I mean, I literally want them in all colors. It's so nice. Classic. And remember, the pleats are optional. You can make it without and you'll still be comfortable. And, you know, it's all personal preference who likes pleats or who doesn't. I personally think these are very nice. So I'm loving them. But if you loathe pleats, don't worry. You can make it without. I've styled this a bunch of ways so you can see. These are my Guthrie pants from GreenStyle. Love the color. It's going to go so well in my wardrobe. And this is a wide leg style pant made in a tencel twill. I have a size G waist blended to H hips. I have about a 32-inch inseam right here. There's a petite, regular, and tall file here. And on the front, you can do options with small pleats. These pleats go to the sides. I love them. Or you can do a front that's just flat, no pleats, but I wanted the pleats. I think they're really pretty. Slant pocket openings. I have cool cotton in there with colors. I added these back patch pockets. As you can see, the back has elasticated waistband. The front is flat. There are belt loops. And this is just so classic. It feels amazing. I think a bottom weight fabric with a lot of drape like this one is perfect for something like this. These are wider pants. They're not meant to hug your bottom. It's not the style. And I think they look really nice with this blouse tucked in. The belt looks pretty. This one has a fake fly, but I made mine real just because I could. And I find a fly is easy to add when you already have the fly extension in the pattern piece. These pants are absolutely amazing and I know I'm going to make them again. Here I have them styled with a denim vest, so you can't really see the pleat details or the waistband details, but it's okay. I think the vest goes beautifully here. It's a top that is semi-fitted, so it balances really well with the wider style pants. Of course, the denim on the navy is going to look amazing. I love being dressed up in blue tones. I think it's a color that really suits me. I feel amazing. I've paired it with gold sandals and a bag in leather. Super lovely, super classic. Here I'm keeping the blue style, this time with a cropped linen jacket and a little cami tucked in. I've got caramel on the accessories. I think it looks super nice. I rarely do belt loops, but I knew with this style I was gonna want to use my little belts. I've got several and I love this. The pop of color with the pink inside is lovely. And just now that I've got everything tucked in, you can really see the details of the pants. The shorter linen blazer, perfect, goes beautifully with the silhouette of these pants. Check it out, little pleats. I don't think they add bulk to the abdomen at all. My real zipper in there, my pockets. I like adding patch pockets when there are none. I just grabbed a pair of pockets from another pattern and just plop them on there. I think it adds something and I'm happy, especially in a solid. If this was a print, I would leave it without the pockets at the back. So lovely, so nice that I can dress them up, dress them down. And I'm going to show you these pants styled more casual as well, because it's not all just about dressing up in this life, right? But we're keeping it a little dressed up for now. I love this blouse. It's so pretty in a rayon. It's got lovely bishop sleeves. I love the combination of the green tones with the navy. The navy is a sort of black. If you don't like black, I think navy can work a lot with a lot of colors as well. So it's super pretty. I have a little green belt in there, and this is one way I'm gonna wear them, and I'm gonna be super happy. Now let's head into the casual department. I have this ready to wear sweater in navy and red, beautiful. I've tucked it in a little bit on the front, and I think it looks really pretty, keeping the sandals navy, just to keep it more subdued. I thought about red shoes, but it would have been too much. Love this. And then I'm gonna bring out some sneakers in white. Love them, super comfortable. This sweater is ready to wear. I don't knit, so anything that's sweater is gonna be bought from the shops. And this is really comfy, casual. Nothing dressed up about this one, but I still think it looks super cute. Like I made a bit of an effort for a nice comfy day. Super love it. You can still see the pleats under there. It's not a super long sweater, not too boxy. I think it's just right. I know I'm gonna want these in other colors, and there's also shorts. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Have a look at these pants. They are amazing. The fit is spot on. The leg falls beautifully. There's no twisted legs or weird drag lines at the back. It's so nice. Fitting adjustments were a breeze. It's so good that you have the short, the regular, and the tall files separately, because that's just going to help you. Pants get so affected by people's heights. You know, we're so different. And so I think that is golden. I really like the size range, everything. I added my own little twist with the extra zipper and the extra back patch pockets, because why not? You can add those things. They would be amazing without those things as well. Remember, Black Friday sale, GreenStyle, 40% off everything with the code BF25 at checkout. And remember to check out my website for the Black Friday sale information. I'll be adding on there as soon as more sales go live. Only pattern brands that I'm an affiliate to. And that's all from me. I'm going to see you again tomorrow with more amazing content. Something you're probably not expecting, with a special guest. See you then. Bye.